All right, all right, all right. Hello, you have tuned in to Put a Pin in It Conversations with Elisa, and I am Elisa. Oh, I can't, I'm like the Wizard of Oz. I can't let you see. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. But anyway, you have tuned in to Put a Pin in It Conversations with Elisa. My name is Elisa. It is Tuesday. Every Tuesday, you can meet me here, you can meet Queen here, and all of my guests that I may have on. I may have a guest, I may not have a guest, but tonight we have a guest. All right, so stick around. 7:30, the Dr. TL Penny will be with me tonight, and we are going to have a conversation with her about women thriving in the pulpit. We're going to go through her journey, and so that she can encourage us to never give up the fight. Or is it worth fighting for? All right. So the things that we're talking about tonight is going to have that theme. Is it worth fighting for? Okay. So stay tuned. While you're coming in, please tell me who you are, where you're from. We have our day one, Jermaine Gardner, saying good evening, everyone. What's up, Jermaine? It is so good to see you on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today is Tuesday, and if you have been following me, on February the 6th is a very important day for me. I had my practice run for my dissertation. And guys, you may not see me on social media for the next 9 days. Because let me tell you something. They tore through my defense like none other, but it's gonna make me better. And so the next 9 days, I'm really to be going through fine tooth, fine combing, however you say it, making sure that I do what I have to do. Thank you for being on, Miss Pat. How are you? All right. So tonight we have a wonderful, wonderful show tonight. And the theme of it all is it worth fighting for? Hello, everyone on Instagram. I am so glad that we are able to go live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. All right. So before I get started, last week I briefly talked about this. This is a sponsor for me. So I have to talk about this. And my coworker, Mitch Mitchell, is sponsoring, or he is in charge of, he has a plan for all of us to make it big. Okay. He has different type of and I want you to email him or go to this his page and inbox him, and he's going to talk to you about Rakuten. I don't know if you know about that. Fetch and Upside. These are three different apps that you can download, that when you like go to the gas station or when you go to the grocery store, you just scan your receipts and you get paid for it. All right. So he knows the ins and outs about it. So I want you to go to his page, inbox him, even if you don't want to hear what he got to say, inbox him because he is sponsoring me. Okay. Thank you. All right. So now I'm going to bring my sports co host on. Hello, Queen. How are you doing?
Hello, Miss Dunn. How are you?
I
I'm
am
excited.
doing well. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm
Great.
happy to be here. And yeah, I'll leave that there before I get to crying and get all
Oh
emotional. I
my
don't know.
God, crying? What we
Yes,
crying for?
girl, because it's like, you know, not too often you meet black women
Yeah,
who just connect with another black woman just instantly without no preconceived notions, no
right.
alternative, I mean, just connect. And like I had told you before, I had lost my best friend on January the 11th. And girl, it's like I'm in Baltimore.
Right.
These
Right.
women are different kind. I'm a Southern girl. I'm from Virginia, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, girl, I don't have no friends. That was my girl, and it's like, girl.
Oh, Queen,
So
don't make us cry on the beginning of the show.
I appreciate you because it's,
Oh my gosh.
you know how like
Mm-hmm.
when people on social media and they're not as approachable because it's like it's weirdos out there and people with alternative motives, and I'm always kind of like misjudged when people see me first off the bat. And I just really do appreciate this because you never know what somebody is going through. You never
Right.
know. Um, and I just appreciate you. I appreciate your authenticity. I appreciate this time and us sharing together. And I do. I do.
Oh my God. Oh my God, Queen. Come
Oh, and that's not my
on.
little queen, my Gucci mascara now. We can't be doing that. Come
Oh my
on,
gosh.
Lord.
Yo, listen, Queen, I appreciate you as well because I have been searching for someone to do sports with me. Um because I do sports with with a twist. And when I found out that you were a referee, I was like, wow, And then when you came on, there was an instant connection. It was an instant click. We were able to talk and interact with each other and things like that. So I appreciate you, and I want you to know that whatever you feel from me, it ain't. I don't put on. I guess you can feel that now. I'm not. I don't put on no show. I am who I am, and so I thank God for you too. You came at the right time because I needed someone to power me about sports. And as we get to know each other, I believe that we're going to be really good friends. Okay.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
So, KD is so sorry for your loss.
Oh,
Yes, we
thank
are.
you.
We are. Loss. Look, I wrote a whole book about it. Loss is something that um you have to walk through because every situation is unique. No situation is the same. And I did not realize that until here I am getting emotional too. Until I lost some of the most important people that I know that meant so much to me, and that was my parents. Um, Words can express when I'm doing my dissertation or whether I'm doing this or anything like that. I always think about them. Always think about them, and we gonna get through this, okay? Because January the 11th is fresh. That's fresh. So I thank
Mhm.
you for having the courage to just be in this space with me. Okay. So as you thank me, I thank you. All right. So let's get
Mhm.
into these sports and we about
Yes.
to listen. First thing we're gonna talk about, I hope y'all probably can't see it, but we're gonna talk about the NCAA women's basketball rankings. Okay. I know Instagram can't see it. So I'm just gonna read it off right quick because when Louisiana, not Louis, when LSU lost
Mhm.
um the first game, I posted, I don't believe that they're going to make the tournament. Okay, I did
Don't
say
hurt,
that.
don't hurt, don't hurt him too bad. Don't hurt him too bad.
This is what I said, right, Queen? I said I don't believe they're gonna make it. I said because they just don't look like the team. Whatever. I always thought that Angel Reese was overrated. Y'all can, you know, talk about me if
She
you please.
she's from Baltimore. I dig her, but I think she's kind of over. She's commercialized.
Yes, I always thought that Angel Reese was overrated. I don't think most of the coach everybody say she is. She's likened to me. I think Steve Kerr. I don't think Steve Kerr is a great coach. He just has great talent. So if you got great talent, of course you're gonna win games. But now look at them. They're struggling, and you don't see strategies changing. The same thing with LSU. They're struggling, but where's the change? So that's where the coach supposed to come in at. But you what you think about that?
Listen, I told you I don't understand how she coaches. I watched the game a little bit and then it went off and it switched to I think who went into overtime last week? NC and who were they playing? Virginia, were they playing Virginia Tech? I think they were playing Virginia Tech. And it went to that game, but I uh I can't get with it. I think the girls now are trying to be, I think intellectually, they're trying to
Mm-hmm.
match the rhythm of the boys and trying to
Mm,
gain that recognition because I'm not seeing the flow
mm-hmm.
of the game, like running the plays man to man. They couldn't in that game, they couldn't even, I mean, what were they doing? And I looked at the stat, like I'm just saying, I looked at the
Give us the
stats and
stats, Queen. Come on.
Angel Reese, okay, she was in the game for 32 minutes, had
Mm-hmm.
10 rebounds, 6 assists, and 14 points. Their free throws was horrible.
Okay.
I mean, the Gators they were 53%. They for them to have 106 points, they were only shooting 73.5% of their free throws.
Mm,
That to me is horrible.
right.
It's horrible.
I agree.
And the rebounds, okay, defensively they had 41. That kind of matches the score. But offensively, they only had 18.
What?
18 offensive rebounds.
18.
18.
Wow. Okay,
17 turnovers.
for you that do not watch sports, okay, offensive rebounds, you need that.
Right.
And
Right.
Angel Reese is not a small girl. Like she's
She's
very
good.
tall. And but I get it. I get it. And I think it's because they don't have, she's tired. Like they don't have substitution like they should. They don't have a deep bench. They don't have depth. So I believe that's where LSU is going to fall off. That's what I think.
Yeah.
They're not if they make it to the, the initial, they're not, I don't believe. You heard it here. I don't believe LSU is going to make it to the Sweet 16. I just
They have no real strategy. On the outside looking in from a referee point and from a former player, they have no strategy. I told you I could take it right now.
You can
Yeah,
take it right now.
right now.
Ah,
Cause
that is
she's all
funny.
about being commercialized. What can I get? What can I gain? I'm here. I told you, and that's not the attitude to have. It's
Right,
like, do run the game.
right.
This,
This a
it's a
new
team
season.
environment. Exactly.
This a new season, so you need to simmer down and do what you need to do. I agree with that. South Carolina, of course, they're still undefeated. So we're gonna see where they go. They have to play. They have them playing. All of them playing. Iowa, LSU, and South Carolina. They're all playing on Thursday. I don't know why they do that, but I guess I don't know. They splitting the views up. I don't know. All right. So our next story,
Whew.
next Sunday is the
Don't make
Super
my head hurt.
Bowl.
Whew. Whew.
All right, if you're going
Child.
to be watching the Super Bowl, put a 1 in the chat. If you're not going to be watching the Super Bowl, put a 2 in the chat. If you're going to be watching the Super Bowl, put a 1 in the chat. If you are not, put a 2. And I don't know why you wouldn't be. At least halftime, everybody should be watching that. Or the commercials or something like that. All right. So, uh, are you still standing with the 49ers are going to win?
I'm still saying it with the 49ers are going to win. I'm telling you, they are pumping this up. They are pumping this hype up with Taylor, her Grammys, her new album. Everything is commercialized. They went to Khalees talking about he invented the fade. Like, come on. What? This is a white boy. When did he invent the fade haircut? That was just so it's just being commercialized. They are making money.
Oh yeah.
They're going
They
to make
now
a lot of
now
money.
the strategy, the PR is PRing. You hear me? And
Hey,
if you don't
I
know
was
what
trying to
Queen
see
is
where I
talking
could get
about,
in on it, create something red or something, you know? Ah, oh
if
my
you don't know
God.
what Queen is talking about, this is what she's talking about. They're saying in the New York Times they posted, I didn't put it in here, Lord Lisa. They said they'll take the Travis Kelsey hairdo. So that's people are going in the barbershop saying that they want the Travis Kelsey. Now, do you know their name is not pronounced Kelsey? It's pronounced Kels.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Well, Mama Kels be answering to it when she was on the Today Show. She answered to
So
it.
Travis and his brother and his dad, they were on a podcast and they were talking about the real pronunciation of their name. And the older brother was like, Dad, you just gonna let people just say our name wrong?
Wow.
He was like, it don't matter to me. But their name is pronounced Kels, not Kelsey.
Wow.
So they just
Wow.
went along with it.
And you
That's
know what? You
crazy.
see how that just changed? That changed something in me because Kelsey, it makes it kind of weird now by saying Kels. I'm serious. I'm telling you. When I told you, when I said, okay, their marketing strategy is fun. Whoever we need to meet them because I told you, I said, it's not like she's talking about Taylor Swift. I was like, it ain't like she's Celine Dion. Who did they have presenting her Grammy? Celine
We
Dion.
gonna talk
I
about
said,
that. Hold on, don't go. We gonna talk about that. Hold that thought, okay? We gonna talk about that. But this is what I want you to. Do you think betting influences the outcome of the game?
absolutely.
How,
Absolutely.
Queen? How though?
Listen, let me tell you, you don't think they behind the scenes looking at the stacks and looking at that money?
I think that is so wrong. But
Baby, they looking at the stacks and looking at that money.
I'm starting to think though that this is correct because I do prize picks, right?
Mhm.
And on one of my like um Oh, this is my coworker, y'all. So y'all need to make sure
I met you.
that you inbox him. Okay. All right. So I I'm kind of leaning towards it. Kelvin Alexander said I don't. Jermaine says yes, it is. Let me tell you why. I had a choice. So on Prize Pick, all you have to say is more or less, right? They had, and they'll show you stats. So these stats, I'm gonna stop looking at those stats because I think them stats is wrong. So they'll show you stats to make you lean towards what they want you to make you lean towards, right? I'm figuring it out. I've won a lot of money now. Don't get me twisted. I almost won like $3,000. But
Wow.
my thing is, I'm starting to notice that they had what's his name? What's his name? The beard. What's his Harden? They had him 4 rebounds, more or less. James Harden, 4 rebounds. Of course, he gets more than 4 rebounds every
Exactly.
game. Every game, he gets more than 4 rebounds. What happened tonight? I say more. He get 3. Oh, I'm so pissed. And
Because
and um and Steph Curry, he was in the drought. They had him five 5.5 3-pointers. Of course, I'm gonna say less because he been shooting like crap. What happened? That boy shoot 9 3-pointers in one game. I'm like, how in the world? What in the world is going on? And so Kevin Alexander said, "You got to be in the know as well as know the stats." So I'll be watching the games, and so sometimes they'll let you do a fourth quarter. So I'll watch the whole game and then be like, "Okay, surely, the Spurs is iffy," but I'll be like, "Surely, Victor Wembanyama going to get 5 points in the fourth quarter." Nigga, zero. Like, what is going on?
do you know how many people lost against the Dolphins, and who was it? The Dolphins played in the
The Ravens?
AFC.
Oh, no, no, no.
No,
Dolphins and the I know you're talking about.
Detroit. Was it Detroit? Detroit and who did Detroit play? The 49ers. Do you
Right, the
know
49ers.
Detroit had 31, 49ers had 7. They came back 34-31. Do you
Yeah,
know
that
how
was
much money
crazy.
people lost?
That was crazy. But let me tell you this though. The NFL is more consistent than the NBA because you have with the NBA, I'm telling y'all how I win my money right now. With the NBA, you have to make sure who they're playing because you know they'll sit people out when they're blowing people out. So you got to make sure it's not a game that's going to be a blowout and all these kind of things like that. So my guest is here, y'all.
It's a
So
lot of
happy.
moving parts, more moving parts with the NBA. Yeah, I can
Yes,
see
it
that.
is. All right, we're gonna talk about the Grammys, and then Dr. Penny is in the background. We're gonna let her in. Y'all need to come
Yeah.
on in, share. This is gonna be a great conversation with. I don't even want to call her my sis because she like real older than me, and she is like in the way. Look at
Oh.
her face. She's amazing. All right, so here we go. This was my highlight of the Grammys, Fantasia,
Mm-hmm.
because it was a full circle moment. I watched when Fantasia was on American Idol. She sang this song to get to go through to the next round. She
She did.
sang Proud Mary. And so now, I didn't, I like the singing. Now the dancing, that's a no that she didn't do. She Nobody can do that but Tina Turner. But the
Right.
singing, oh my goodness. Can't
Yeah.
nobody out sing Fantasia
Mm-mm.
and her quivering lips.
Honey, has she taken offline anyway? She don't care.
Yeah,
I
that
would like to
girl.
see Beyonce get down like that one day.
She get down like that.
Take a shit. Beyonce didn't got
But
goddamn like natural shit.
Beyonce don't have to take her shoes off. She can dance in her shoes.
I know. But I mean just let loose like that. Like,
She do. Now on the not on this last tour she didn't because she had broke
oh
her
no.
foot or something. But on
Yeah.
Lemonade, oh, she let it loose. I'm telling you right
Mm.
now. So this is what we want to talk about for real. All right. So Jay-Z's speech. Y'all might not like my
Mm.
comments concerning this, but I'm gonna let you go first. Do we want to hear the speech or no? I don't want to because they're
Let's
gonna
hear it.
take
Let's hear it. Let's
okay.
hear it.
We gonna hear the speech because they'll take my stuff and I don't be one.
Oh, don't let them. I repeat it.
Okay, you
I'm
repeat
gonna
it.
paraphrase it.
Paraphrase
Look,
it.
y'all ain't give my wife a Grammy yet, and she got the for Song of the Year, and she got more Grammys than anybody, and y'all ain't give her Grammy yet. Wow, God keep showing up.
Okay. So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts of
Then I'm gonna come behind.
I concur.
Okay.
I think that she should have had album of the year. I believe that if she was a Caucasian woman, she would have had album of the year a long time ago. I feel like they would have pushed and marketed her um more successfully than they have. And I do agree with, I think somebody had said that Taylor Swift is more open. Other artists have been more open than Beyonce has been in the past. But it takes nothing from her ability to produce good product, good
Mhm.
music. And I think she should have had somewhere in these years um album of the year. I really do. And I know when Adele won and she had congratulated Beyonce, Adele was bomb. But Adele crosses, even though Beyonce crosses in the Caucasian community, but Adele really crossed over into both. But Taylor Swift, I don't see. I mean, she's gonna get old, and I think they marketed her. I think they marketed her in a way where she will always keep flowing.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I agree with Jay-Z's speech to an extent. Um First of all, like I posted last night, I said, did he even acknowledge Beyonce?
He was nervous.
And when I
He was
say
so nervous.
acknowledge, I mean like in every one of Beyonce's speeches, what did she say? I want to thank my beautiful husband. Did she not say that every time? That's where I pulled that from. She says it every time. I want to thank my beautiful husband. Without him, where would I be? Okay. So there, I've seen people say, well, he did acknowledge her because he said that she was snubbed from the album of the year. Um,
That's from a
I,
business aspect.
I, I, I'm gonna have to say Beyonce has great songs. Y'all not gonna y'all and I go to the Beyonce concerts. She has great songs. All the songs that she sang at the Renaissance. Now hear me out. She didn't sing all the songs from the Renaissance. She pulled from, of course, our concert is all, but this was supposed to be in Renaissance, right? So that means you're gonna be
Mhm.
singing stuff from Renaissance. But when she pulled stuff from other, like her other songs and stuff, you should have saw the energy from. So I think Beyonce has great songs. To me, an album. Now I don't listen to Taylor Swift, so I don't even know. I couldn't tell you
Mhm.
one song Taylor Swift sings. But when it comes to an album, it has to be album of the year. It has to be no skips. And the only album that I know that won album of the year that had no skips for me was Invasion of Privacy. Now y'all may not be a
Mhm.
Cardi B fan, but that that album,
Mm.
no skips for me. So
Mhm.
my thing is, I get it. She has, like, I think Beyonce has 33. Grammys.
Yeah.
Um, I get it. But when I listen to there are songs on Lemonade, I don't even know the songs.
Mm.
So, but I went to the concert, but the songs that she sang were the songs that she got Grammys for. So I get it, but then again, I get it from the Grammys perspective too, because
Mhm.
you have to campaign. Beyonce is
Mhm.
not going to do that.
Mhm.
She just not open enough to do that. Um,
Mhm.
LaQuatra said, "Does Taylor Swift cross over?" I don't listen to any of their music. That's what I'm saying. Taylor Swift, I don't know any of her music, right?
No.
But she has her she has a following that is so huge that when she went on her tour, she made like $1 billion, didn't she?
Yeah. From young, young is like what, 6, 7 on up.
Yes. And she's generating like 330, they're at 330 something $1 million for the NFL. So she's
Now,
go ahead.
understand the fairy tale aspect of they to me, what I feel in my Shine spirit, they're creating a Cinderella effect. They're trying to keep her young. And this
Hmm.
listen to me, follow me. They're creating this Cinderella boy meets girl love connection. When that school teacher came in the room and proposed to his co-worker, his colleague,
Hmm.
another school teacher, it was in the midst of fifth graders.
Hmm.
What were they doing? Oh my God, it's so fun. Oh my God. Do you not think that all those little kids, if Taylor Swift show up at that Super Bowl, that all those kids are going to want to be there? They're going to be asking mommy and dad to get me the nosebleed seats, get me this, get me that. I don't care what you
Right.
get me, but I want to be there.
Right.
And so it's with that they're pulling influence.
Right.
Think about the influence that Oprah had on President Obama winning.
Hmm.
It was automatic. Oh, Oprah does it. I'm doing it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Why TikTok is so famous with selling stuff. Oh, if this person, my influencer bought it, I'm gonna buy it. It's all about strategy,
Right.
the marketing strategy they doing. And I sit back and I'm like, oh God.
I
Like
agree.
this is like this family. They're not. I don't even think they're together like that.
I don't either.
The mama don't really care for her too much because the mama was like, oh, this is new, I don't know, you know. And so it's all a marketing strategy,
I
and it's
agree.
to keep her young. And she just announced she's coming out with a new album. Come on
Right.
man.
She's smart now.
Genius.
She's
Genius.
smart. You can't take that from her. She is smart.
Genius.
And what is that? You is kind.
But this was what I don't understand. Who does Beyonce have on her team that she can't even get a product going? Dairy, apple buy, ain't nothing lasting. Like
It's
what? And this has been for years. I'm like, the perfume probably hit a little bit, but it's child, I
I
don't know.
guarantee if Beyonce were more, if she was online more, if she was more, let people into her life more, oh,
Relatable.
she would be a billionaire over and over and over and over because people love her, and she don't even let them touch a part of her personal space.
Yeah, yeah.
So imagine if she be like, okay, I'm just gonna go live for like 5 people will go crazy. She has fan base, male and female, that will go crazy if she would just press live.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
So
Mhm.
it's just the fact that she's not open. And I applaud her for that though, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it my way. I'm not gonna bow to you knowing my kids' birthday, knowing being because like the Kardashians, they tell us everything about them, you know,
Mhm.
showing us, we don't even know what Beyonce house looked like for Christmas.
Right.
So I don't know. I just feel like, oh no, I said a billionaire times over and over and over again. She's a billionaire. But I'm
Yeah.
saying she will have more money than
Like
what she
Rihanna.
has. Yes, like Rihanna. She would be,
Rihanna tapped in, baby.
yeah. But and see, Rihanna, she's private too. But she's more open than, at least we know what Rihanna kids look like. We
Yeah.
get glances of, we saw the twins when they were babies. Now we see them in the movie. They like 5 6.
Right.
So, but I
And it's
commend
not
her for that.
relatable. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
commend her for that. So anyway,
Yeah.
but my guest is in the back. Thank you, Queen, for
Yes.
coming
Thank
on.
you. Yes.
I
Have a
am
good time.
so glad that you came on.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. See you next week.
yep, because
Bye.
The Super Bowl is next week, so we're gonna have a whole lot to talk about.
Oh, yes, we are.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right. See you. Good night.
All right, bye bye. All right. So y'all, I have my guest in the back. Not even gonna hold you. Look, DrTLPenny. If you don't know who this lady is, you have been living under a rock, especially if you claim to know Jesus and know him crucified. If you don't, if you don't know who TL Penny is, you don't know Jesus. That's what I'm gonna say. um, I want to say this before I bring her on. Tia, I used to host 100 Women in Pink back in Raleigh, when I was a first lady, right? And DrTL Penny, I invited her to come, and she was a yes. I mean, it wasn't even a hesitation. She was a yes. She didn't know me. I mean, she could have known me. I don't know. But I had never talked to her. I had never, whatever. We reached out. She said yes. And she didn't come by herself. She brought van loads of people. I would never forget that. This was my first women's conference, and it was a success because I'm getting emotional. We just been emotional tonight. Ugh. It was a success because of Dr. TL Penny. So I want you all to give my guest a hand. Man, I can't even I can't even believe that you are a yes again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. I see your members are on. Thank you, Shabbat, for coming on. We are about to have a wonderful conversation. All right. First of all, again, I just want to say thank you. I um really love your ministry. I love preaching. I don't like this, teaching and stuff. I like preaching. And not only can Dr. TL Penny preach, she can sing. So that's my first question. Were you ever, because you in South Carolina, were you born in South Carolina?
No, actually, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, Lisa. I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised, educated even. Yeah.
I feel like I don't know you right now.
Yeah.
Okay, born and raised in Brooklyn. So
Yeah.
that means you got hands. Born and raised in Brooklyn. Okay. Okay, so that explains why you don't talk like me. Okay, that makes sense. But have you ever been a part of a quartet group?
It's funny you asked that. Back when I was about 18, I joined a group here in South Carolina. I moved here by then. And I joined a group called the Abram Singers.
Mm.
And they were a quartet singing group. The matter of fact, they're still going strong here, as from what I understand. And I wrote one of the songs for the group. People Get Ready. People wouldn't know that, but we would open up for Troy Ramey, Tommy Ellison.
Oh, I
Um,
know that.
yeah. At the gate, I know. So we
Mm-hmm.
would open up for all of them, and I would end up. That's when I realized the call of God was on my life, because I would be leading the song, and the next thing you know, I'm preaching.
Wow.
Yeah, They got to drag me off because I'm going into. Yeah, but absolutely,
Oh
and I
my
love quartet
goodness.
music. Actually love it.
So you knew you were called to preach through singing.
No, actually, I knew I was called to preach way before then, but
Okay.
singing kind of catapulted it when I started doing the quartet singing, and it kind of catapulted me. I knew that I was called to preach when I was very young. It was prophesied to me
Wow.
when I was about 7, 8 years old. Old mothers of the church and my great great grandmother laid hands on me and told me I would preach. I didn't want to, but
Okay.
that's what that's what was prophesied over me. And I had such a longing and a love for God. Even in high school, I did the Teens for Christ, and I would teach during the class, the recess during lunch, and then end up preaching, and kids would get saved. And
Oh wow.
yeah, that was it was wonderful spiritually. It made me kind of a social outcast because I'm the holy roller.
Right,
So
right, right.
I didn't get to go to prom and hang out and have fun like the other kids because of that. So
That is awesome because I too was a church baby. I
yeah.
didn't go to prom. Didn't have a desire to because I grew up in the church and I was serious about I was in a quartet group as well.
Oh wow, you sing? You sing?
I sing background.
Okay,
I can't sing like you, but I can hold the notes.
okay.
Those are important to
That's
background
important.
singers.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We need those BGBs.
You do. And so okay, I want to get into your spiritual lineage. I heard you say something about your grandma. So who if you can name their names and if see if we know what is your spiritual lineage? Like your grandma and who else?
Yeah, my grandmother was an evangelist, and some have gone on to be with the Lord now, and they're not popular to the world, but they were anointed, sanctified women of God that I grew up with. The whole apostle and who's gone on with be with the Lord. Matter of fact, when COVID came in March of 2020, my first pastor, she was also my aunt. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
she passed away, Apostle Callie Jasper, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Holy City Ministries. That was my church, born and raised. As a matter of fact, we bought our first organ from the late Timothy Wright when
Wow.
he was actually an organ salesman way back then. A lot of people may not know that. Some on may do, but our church purchased the first organ that we had from Timothy Wright. He sold it to us. So Apostle Callie Jasper, that was one who laid hands on me. Of course, Elder Maggie Osborne, she was a theologian, and
Mm-hmm.
she helped raise me too, Elisa. My grandmother and my aunt, they were just saved, sanctified ladies, kept me in shut-ins.
Mm-hmm.
7 years old, I'm in shut-ins at the church for 3
Right.
days. And my lineage came from there. Everything else, I had, of course, great spiritual mentors and leaders, but I
Right.
give credit where my foundation was in those old wrinkled hands,
Right.
LMPs, and they would pin little red prayer cloths. You remember those? They would
Yes.
put little red pin prayer cloths on me up under my clothes and tell me to go to school. You're gonna be covered all day. They speak in tongues over me before I get to school.
Right. Oh my
That's
God. I am loving this. Okay, so all right, so you started preaching what age?
I was preaching in the house at 7 years old. Seriously, we would have prayer. Like when we weren't in church, we would have service at the house. My grandmother
Right?
knows we would have church service. I mean,
House
like,
prayers. I remember them.
yeah, and they would have me. I would preach. I would literally preach. St. John chapter 3 was, you must be born again. I preached about Nicodemus so much. I'm surprised when I officially preached, that wasn't my text. But I started preaching unofficially at about 6, 7 years old. In
Wow.
tongues, about 7, 8 years old, in Holy City. I'll never forget. They talked to me about that. They teased me about it for years, the saints that were alive. But I unofficially started preaching, officially licensed when I was 21. When I got my
Okay.
license to preach at 21, because I was about 5 months pregnant with my youngest daughter. when I took my initial sermon.
5 months pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that means you was married.
I was married.
Okay.
Yes.
I was about to say, I know them wrinkle hands.
Oh, listen, they had me. That's what kept me in the way. I don't know if it was God or them. I was terrified.
That is funny. So you have a daughter. And I seen your grandson. You have two daughters? You got two daughters.
Biological daughters. Two
Yeah.
biological.
Okay,
And
two
then one I
biological
raised.
daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And
And then I raised the third one.
and I follow you on social media, so I seen your grandson, but I think you got another grandchild too.
I've got 5 grandchildren now, Alisa.
See, that's why we having this conversation.
Yeah.
So 5 grandchildren.
5 grandchildren. I've got now 3 boys and 2 granddaughters. The youngest one was just born in November. He's in Hawaii with his mom and dad. They're military.
Mm-hmm.
JJ. So JJ is the newest addition. But I've got 3 grandsons and 2 granddaughters.
And yeah, okay.
Yes.
That is amazing. So you started pastoring when?
I started pastoring July 2nd, 2000. I was 29 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, been preaching over 33, 34 years, but pastoring, July will be 24 years that I will have been pastoring.
Okay, so last week we talked about I had a unmarried female pastor on and an unmarried male pastor, and they talked about the double standard between male pastors and female pastors. Have you experienced a double standard because you preach everywhere? Yeah. Have you experienced any type of double standard? Like if you knew if you were a man, you would already be like on certain platforms.
Yeah, I have throughout the years. I have, and it I think for me, it's disheartening to see it because you know how you're being handled. You know that the church before the males that came the night before you were treated differently, or they were put in a different hotel, or they were given more of an offering. I actually
wait a minute, different hotel.
Yeah, they'll give them like a 5-star hotel, or give them and that was earlier on in my preaching career. Things have changed a lot for me, and I don't know if it's because I never make waves. I don't complain. I see and I don't see, and this is my motto: if you don't do me right, I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to complain. I just don't come back.
There you go.
I just don't come back because
that's wisdom.
Yeah, my ultimate assignment are the souls.
Right.
But definitely I've seen the double standard. I had a pastor, I preached for this, it was a mega church years ago, and I was on my way to my hotel room, and the speaker, that was there the night before, the night after me, I stayed over to support the service. He was sitting in the computer room at the hotel, and he saw me going up to my room. He said, "Hey," he said, "Dr. Penny, can I see you for a minute?" So I said, "Sure." So he said, "I want to ask you something." He said, "Were you taken care of? Did they give you an honorarium?" Da, 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 da. I said, "Yeah, I got an honorarium. I was cool." He said, "If you don't mind me asking, how much did they give you?" So I said, "That's kind of, private." He said, "No, I'm asking for a reason." And so I told him, and he said, "I want to show you my check." And he showed me his check. I promise this happened. And he said to me, he said, "The reason I said this to you," he says, "because, he has a love for women in ministry." He said, the speaker, the pastor, the host pastor told him, "Don't worry, Penny will make up the budget. Penny's going to make up the budget." And what he did was he paid the males that came that week far more than me and gave me far less. Now, at least I was grateful for what he gave me, but it paled in comparison.
Right.
I raised that budget for that week, but he gave that speaker and the other male speaker, and he said, "I wanted you to know that." Now, why? I don't know if the Lord impressed it upon him to tell me that, but he felt the need to tell me that. And I was so so disheartened. I've gone
Wow.
places and have preached, you know, and didn't know that that's the way I was being handled. I didn't
Right.
know, um, but I've seen it. I've seen it all. Listen, I've seen it all. I just don't
Wow.
say anything because again, my motto is if they don't do you right, then you
Don't
leave.
go back.
See, with a woman, see, here's the thing about a woman in ministry. When we complain, we get a bad name. They call
Right.
us, you know what they call us.
Right.
If you stand up for yourself and say, you know, I don't like the way I'm being treated. I don't like, I had a friend of mine who went to a hotel she was preaching somewhere. And when she got to the room, there were, I mean, sexual paraphernalia and everything in the
Oh.
room, not clean. They would not have done that. She called me tearing up. She was crying because they would not have done that to a male. And then if a man speaks up and says, hey, this is not, you know, we're not going to have, this is not the way it's going to be,
Right.
then they don't have a problem with that. But when we do it, we get a bad name and they'll cancel culture on a woman quick.
Wow.
They say that we make trouble, we cause confusion, you know, they're hard to deal with, so you learn to just kind of bite the bullet. And if it's really, I'll give you this without calling names, pulled up to a hotel. I
Right.
thought that the hotel they pulled us up to now that whole week, every headliner you can think of without me naming those preachers, you think of it, that's who preached that week.
Mm-hmm.
I was coming this particular night. All of them are downtown at the Marriott in this
Mm-hmm.
city. We pull up, the driver picks me up, we pull up in front of a Residence Inn. So I thought they were picking somebody up or dropping something off. But this was not just a Residence Inn. And when it comes, listen, I'm not hard to please, but this was a Residence Inn who had been contracted by the government for people on low income. So you had people with their clothes hanging off the banisters. It was bad. You had people with their cars jacked up to change tires. They were living there. It was like, people low income.
Extended stay.
And it was some that were Section 8 waiting on their place. And they were there. And so I noticed when we got there, I'm sitting in the back of the car and my adjutant, Elder D, was sitting in the back with me. And I looked at her and said, what are we doing? She said, I don't know. So
I see her saying that too.
Yeah. And so, and if she's on here, she can attest to it. So I noticed that they were getting out the car and came around to open our doors. I said, what are we doing? They said, this is where you're staying. I had to preach that night. Big conference. Elisa, I said, I'm not staying here. I said, let me ask you this. I said, is this the host hotel? No, we didn't get a chance to get your room secured in time. They had ran out of rooms. Yeah. They said, so now here, listen to me. I don't make waves about money. I don't make waves, but you're not gonna put me. First of all, I didn't even feel safe. When we pulled up there for just the aesthetics alone, you want to clutch your pearls. You want to hold your bag like, what in the world? And I said to them, I'm not going to stay here. They said, but this is all we got. I said, well, I'll tell you this. Please let your bishop know that you had to take me back to the airport because I am not staying here.
Wow.
Lisa, because I put my foot down, listen to me. That's why I know, this is why I know people do what they want to do. They just hold on a second, Bishop Penny, hold on a second. Within 3 minutes, they got back in the car. They said, you know what, Bishop, we got a room for you at that Marriott. It was the Marriott downtown. I won't name the city because I never want to, put anybody out there. That's the kind of stuff that I've had to deal with.
Wow.
I went to the Bahamas, Barbados, and they tried to put me in a crappy hotel. The bishop who comes to the U.S. here, I called the apostle that sent me there. Got on the phone and blasted them.
Right.
Within 20 minutes, I was in a resort in the Barbados. Do you see having a male voice and seeing that double standard? And it's hurtful because if you don't really have a love for the kingdom of God's people, that's discouraging. Yes. And you feel like you have to fight for everything. And I just won't do it. I won't fight. If you're not going to treat me right, I'm going to do my assignment. Now, I'm not going to sleep in no hotel. I would have never. I'm sorry. The
Right.
Saints wasn't going to get nothing that night because I didn't even feel safe. It was terrible. Elisa, it was terrible.
I believe you. I believe you. And so, and it's funny you said that because the running theme for tonight is it worth fighting for? So so with that experience and all the other experiences that you have encountered, do you feel now when you take appointments, certain things are in place, or you still go and whatever, and if they don't teach you, if they don't do right, then you just be like, I'm not coming back? Or do you have stipulations in place up front now?
My administrator throughout the years, they started tweaking certain things about where I was going, and they had an opportunity to talk to the churches, and they kind of knew how I was going to be treated. And they said to me years ago is when we put together something called a covenant agreement.
Right.
And it was a very, very well-known father in the faith who told me, Penny, you need to put, he said, I know you don't want to call it a contract, but you need to put a covenant agreement together so that you can make sure that you're going to be treated properly, fairly.
Right.
Because my thing was, I don't want to put a stipulation on what people give me, or I don't want to be hardship. They said, no, people are only going to treat you the way you show them how to treat you. So my administrators, they tweaked it throughout the years. And one of the things that I asked for was that my stay, I need to be in a clean hotel. So I stipulate the type of hotel. It doesn't have to be big. You can put me at a Spring Hill Suites. It's a Marriott chain. I like Marriott, Hilton's. I'll stay at a Holiday Inn Express, just long as it's. And so we stipulate those things in my covenant agreement. Preferably, I'll have in there an inclusive hotel if possible, where I can feed myself. One of the things I've never been is a burden to a church. So if I go, even when they leave a tab on me, and if any of the preachers are watching, they'll attest to this, they can leave a credit card for me. Say, hey, you all can bill it to the room. At least I order my stuff out, especially if I'm up north, like New York or someplace. I'm ordering Chinese food, pizza. I'm ordering off the street. But those are some of the stipulations that I have in place, that this is what I need. For years and years, I allowed people to give me what they wanted to give me. But I realized that there was such a double standard.
Yeah.
And if I did not say what I wanted as a woman, and I hate that this is the case.
Right.
And I hate, especially in African-American church, because we as just African-Americans understand what it is to be mishandled in general.
Right.
I do women of God that way.
Right.
And if I don't make a stipulation, they'll continue to put me for years. You'd be surprised. I just started flying first class within the last few years. I was put all the way in the back of the plane.
What?
I mean, by the toilet bowl, all the way in the back for years. Or I was put on a train to travel.
The train.
I did all of that. I've come through all of that. But here's something I learned. Bishop Ivy Hilliard told me a long time ago, when you're in demand, you can make demands. And so as the Lord began to elevate me and open more doors, and my ministry became more necessary, then I was able to ask for what I consider fair and better treatment. And so far I've gotten that. But there's still that double standard. We can't see we can't see everybody else's checks. I've got to write bad checks to me and never fix the check.
Wait. Time out.
Yeah.
You said write you bad checks?
Better than that. Closed on a closed account. Preached the conference, but they took care of the mail that preached that week. But I get a check on
DrPenny, wait, a closed account?
Closed account. A closed account, period. And never.
So you're preaching God's word. And I know you're saying heaven down. You preach heaven down. Doing all the laying hands, sweating, all of that. And they know they're about to hand you a fraudulent check.
A fraudulent check.
Wow.
That's the kind of stuff I've been through. And still will run conferences. Still running conferences. And because again, I'm a woman. And if I would make waves about it, or if I would say,
time out again. So how did that make you feel? Like,
it made me feel horrible. horrible. It made me feel horrible.
And how far were you from home? You don't have to tell where you were, but
I
how
was
far?
probably within, if I was driving, probably about 7 hours. If I was driving.
New York, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Actually, for this one, I'll tell you, it was Virginia.
Okay,
Yeah,
Virginia. You ought to be ashamed.
yeah, yeah,
In Virginia?
yeah, yeah. And it's sad because they never fixed it. And I just left it to God. And the way I was traveling, I could have taken it to court and did all of that. I didn't have time to do all of that.
Right.
The way I look at it, God will make it up to me, and they can't prosper, but so much they can't. They
Well,
can't.
that is nice of you, Dr. Penny. But I would have went to the courthouse and
Yeah,
say, "Hear ye, hear ye."
yeah. And I probably should have. You're right.
Yeah, because I mean, I am. Thank you for again. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, because this is eye opening. And I wanted to ask. I wanted you to be on because I consider you as a pastor that has got it right. You have a great ministry. You've been pastoring for 24 years. So I want to know, how do you navigate between it's not okay, preaching engagements. I'm not gonna say it's evangelizing, but preaching engagements and taking care of your congregation. How you navigate through that?
What I've tried to do throughout the years, I do the best of my ability to make sure that I'm home on Sundays.
Okay.
There's always some Sundays, like Fathers of the Faith, that I've gone to that needed me. I've gone, but I tried with everything within me to make sure that I'm home on Sundays. And I'm a very tangible, touchable pastor. So
Okay.
my line is always open to my members. I know some people don't still do that, but my line is open to them. If they need to call me, they can call me. They can talk to me. So I'm touchable. I'm in constant contact with them as they need it.
That don't get on your nerves sometimes though.
You know what? It can be tiresome. And that's why we thank God for technology, and we have something called Do
Right.
Not Disturb. So
I
that
know that's right. Focus mode
when
on.
you gotta go on to the other side, like Jesus said, you can put your phone on Do Not Disturb and then get back to people when you get a whoosa,
Right.
But I think that's what has been, and it has also been. I did an article in a magazine some years ago about that very thing you're talking about, navigating growth, and I call Watch the Roadkill. Because what can happen sometimes is you're so treated well, because once you've gone through, I've gone the things I'm telling you about, I've been through in
Right.
years past. Things are a lot better now. I'm 50.
Oh, I could
I'm
tell you.
53 years old, and if things weren't better by now, I need to go do something different. Yeah, I need to go do something different. But in those years that have passed, things have gotten a lot better. But one of the things that I've realized is that some places you go, they're going to celebrate more than home, it appears, it seems. Because home has you all the time. It's just like, you're a mom.
Right.
Your godchildren, nieces and all, they go crazy over you. But when you get home, your girl's like, hey mom, love you. It's like the celebration is not on 10 at the house as it is on the road. And if you're not careful, you'll get addicted to staying on the road for that celebration, when the truth is the assignment is not going to always be pretty. The assignment is not going to always feel good.
Right.
The assignment is not going to always feel celebratory. But that's where you have to really put your heart and my hone in it. That's where I am. My church is my heart. As much as I'm celebrated across the country, I have cars with. I go to some churches. There's a church in DC. And man, I'm telling you, when I go, they have the the troopers, the sirens, they have police cars and all of that taking me to the church. Man, that feels good. I'm like, whoa, like the president is coming. I ain't never experienced something like that. It was just whoa. I'm like, when I heard the sirens, I asked them in the car, I said, did something happen? They said, yeah, we're taking you to the church. I'm like, are you kidding me? And at home, you get to the church and, you've been on the road.
speaking.
Right, exactly. I'm like, y'all ain't gonna hug me. But my
Reed
heart is there.
Reed said hello, and he said, "Get you to sing before you get off."
Hello, tell the apostle, the prophet, I said hello, and I love you both.
Oh gosh. But your story is amazing. I am so, like I said before, you've always been a yes. Like when I inboxed you, I was like, this she not gonna come on my show.
Honored,
But you was like, yeah, let's do it.
yeah, honored to come.
So I am so glad, and you have dropped so many gems. This what she said about give people one chance, and if they don't do you right, don't fool up with them folk no more. That's what I heard in my head. I'm not going out to preach nowhere, but if I entertain someone and they ain't doing me right, leave them alone.
Yeah.
You get one chance.
Mhm, mhm.
So all of you that are thinking about inviting Dr. TL Penny, you better do her right, or she ain't coming back. That's what she said. She gonna
Exactly
she
right.
gonna she gonna do her due diligence.
That's
She gonna
right.
sing, prophesy, all of that. But if that check bounce, don't
Yeah.
you call her back because she ain't coming.
And for God's sake, please don't. Hey, Chamaco, please don't have me sitting in the lobby for 4 or 5 hours. That's another thing. They don't do
Ooh.
that to men, but they'll do it to women. If you know that a speaker is coming in at early time in the morning, 10, 11 to 12 o'clock in the morning,
Mhm.
and you know they are because you booked the ticket, and the ticket is cheaper when you come in either extremely early or extremely late at night. Everybody knows that. I get that. I don't have a problem flying 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
But why would you have me as a woman sitting in the lobby? Check-in is at 3, Elisa. If they
Right.
don't check you in the night before, guess what's going to happen? You're
You're
going to
gonna
be
be sitting
sitting
out
there,
there. Mhm.
or unless they have a relationship with that hotel and says, "Hey, I need a room for my guest." I've had that happen. Now I'm talking about. I will say this: some of the worst experiences I've had in my tenure of ministry was not from small churches. It
Wow.
was from some of the mega churches.
Wow.
Some of my worst experiences were never from the small churches. It was the mega church that wrote me my first bad check
What?
as an honorarium.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta think now.
No,
She said it was Virginia.
no,
Let me.
not that
I'm
one.
gonna
That's
look
a
it up.
whole other story. That's a
I'm gonna
different
look it
story.
up.
That's a different story. Totally different story. Different places.
I'm connecting the dots.
Different places. Different places. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Virginia wasn't a mega church. That was a conference. But the smaller churches are so kind. And what people don't know is I don't care if that church is not able to give me what my honorarium or my covenant agreement says. I'll go. All I ask you to do is to make sure that I have a clean room and that you
Wow.
get me to the room. That's all I want. I don't ask for much, you know. But male speakers will come in. I mean, totally, totally different. That's what I've seen throughout the years. And that's why I make it a point to try to treat everybody that visits me, that come to me,
Mm,
treat them all with the same level of respect. Because,
wow.
at one time I was talking about doing a women's fellowship, just all women, and let the brothers see that women, women, we can take care of each other too. Y'all don't want to do right by us. We'll have an all female fellowship, but I chucked that idea quick. So
I was about to say, how did that
yeah,
go? Yes. But yeah, I just wow. That is crazy.
yeah.
So I this has been rich. I have really been feasting. I feel like you preaching, and I feel like my
Oh my gosh.
my water is running over. So, but anyway, I had I have a question, and I hope I'm not overstepping my boundaries. I'm not gonna, and I'm not. I just want to know: do you still believe in love?
I do.
And when you are a pastor, how do you navigate that with your congregation? Because I know that when I just want to hear that part, because when you are a preacher like of your stature, it is hard to find somebody that can mesh with you and your ministry and what you got going on, because you got people. You may find somebody that say they love you, but then they're jealous of you. They love you, but then they don't understand that you are a personable pastor.
Yes.
So people are going to be calling me 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, because they were here before you.
Yes.
So I'm not stopping that for you.
Uh-huh.
So have you stopped looking, or are you still believing in love? I believe in love. I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even with my baby daddy on here now.
You're gonna love each other forever. You and my brother gonna love each other forever.
Reed said they have to mesh with her in her community. I
Yes.
have I have learned that um just because Reed and I are friends, and
Uh-huh.
people look at our friendship as, oh, they got to have something going on, or she got to be opening her legs for him to do all that for her and all this, and that's not the case.
No, just love each other.
We are friends, and our family. If you will understand where we came from, I don't know if you know about a little town in Eureka, North Carolina, but we are family, like for real.
Uh-huh.
I knew his family before I even knew who he was.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like with you, the person has to understand that that comes first,
Uh-huh.
or it's just not. And so, like with me, um, I just don't. I believe in love, but there's some things that they're just gonna have to understand.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh-huh.
um, I'm not gonna dog Reed
Uh-huh.
because you don't like him.
Uh-huh.
I'm just not gonna do that. Because he ain't done nothing to me.
That's right.
Um, so, so the man that comes in my life is just gonna. I mean, of course, Reed is not gonna be. If I get married, Reed is probably just gonna be like, okay, bye.
I don't think so. Y'all are friends. You all are gonna love each other
No,
forever as
but
friends.
what I'm saying is he's not gonna be apt to be like, okay, Lisa, I help you, I help you, because it's that man's responsibility now to do that, not his.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't even want him to do that.
But
So the
that's why it's gonna be important for you to meet somebody who can at least try to come close to the way you've been treated by Reed, because
yeah,
you know what it is to be taken care of
yeah,
and treated like a woman. And
right,
that's so rare out here now, Elisa.
yeah,
So rare. So they're gonna have to come correct. Because if not, you know he's gonna say something about it. They're gonna have to come correct with you.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
He will. But
mm,
my thing is, I I love love. I didn't know how much I loved love until, I've learned myself. I think I saw Reed was saying, he wants to, with if he gets in another relationship, that person gonna have to understand that he wants his own space. And I
yeah.
think he tried to tell my testimony and say, I think Lisa the same way. Well, I'm not. I want my husband in the bed with me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. And that's no more than right.
And so, but I under in my marriage, but I've all God chastised me a lot in my marriage, and my daddy as well, when I was in my marriage with because there was a lot of outsiders
Mhm.
that wanted to control, or telling me, well, that ain't right, and this ain't this, and this ain't that. But I had to learn what works for my marriage has to work for my marriage.
Yes.
Reed, in his prophet, he had to sleep on the floor. He had to do the things that he did. And because my daddy did the same thing, sort of, kind of,
Mhm.
I understood.
Yeah.
And so he didn't get no flack from me. He
Yeah.
didn't. But in my years now, I want
Mhm.
I want to be held and cuddled, and I want all of that.
Yeah.
And so that's that. And that's what I'm looking for. Guys. It's February and I'm single.
Yes, yes. I used to do the love connections, remember? I used to
That's
do
what I was getting at too. I was getting
yeah,
at you used to do that.
yeah, and
Um,
I still do low key. I still do it. I still do it. I had a little bump in the road and I kind of just just
yeah,
chilled for a minute. But
right.
people are still coming to me and Bishop, hey, can you hook me up? What do you think? And I don't know. I have people that are married now. They're
Uh-huh.
having their babies. They're having children. Some of them have named their children after me throughout the years. I
Wow.
really, yeah. So I'm looking at. I'm like, wow. If God can do this for people that I connect, and I think sometimes as prophets, and we can see for everybody else. I
Right.
think one of the first signs of a prophet, and Reed can attest to this, is we can see for everybody else, but sometimes we have a hard time seeing for ourselves.
Right.
But
Right.
I'm like, you know what, Lord, if you can do this for others, then I'll never, as long as there's breath in my body, I'll never give up on the idea of love. But I think that it's important that I let God navigate for me. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you think you know what you need. You're judging from what people say. God knows everything. And sometimes, let's be honest, God gives us, He tells us, and we just
Yeah.
override it. You know, He'll
Over.
tell you, no, don't do that. And you're like, but you know, and I'm like, you know, I've been living for you for a long time. You know, I want something for me. You know, the thing that happened. Can I keep him, mommy? Please? Can I keep
I found it outside.
Yeah, I found
Can
it
I keep
outside.
it?
You remember that on Little House on the Prairie, Laura Ingalls brought in? She found the
Yeah.
socks. And she wanted her dad to let her keep it. He was like, no, Laura, he's wild. No, Dad, look at him. He's so sweet. Charles kept telling Laura, no, the animal was wild. He gave in, let Laura keep it. You remember Little House on the Prairie? I might be dating myself.
That's a little. Oh, that's a little far
Okay, because I'm
ahead
53
for me.
and you're old. How old are you? 30 what?
I'm 44.
44. Okay. So not too bad. Not too bad. You're not in diapers while I was watching. You probably eating cookies and a little juicy cup while I
I was watching the Smurfs.
was watching this Gargamel. But 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 she kept him and the thing bitter. And they had to take him to doctor because of rabies. And that's what happens. What we think is can I keep him? And once
Right.
you get him in, it's you know it so I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, God, if you don't do this, then I guess I'll be by myself,
Right.
still believing in love, but helping. I will never be a Scrooge where I don't connect. I always want to be a connector.
Right.
And help because they did that back in the days. They just didn't call it that. You know, the old mothers would have, Tom come to the house for some cornbread and
Right.
collard greens, and
Right.
tell the other mother they'll collaborate. Say, tell Cheryl to come on over. They
Right.
put them together at the table. Before you know it,
And they'll look at you and be like, I think
googly
yours make
eyes.
a
There you
y'all
go. And I
make
always want to be that. I want to be that. I don't care when I'm 75, 80. I want to be able to connect people and say, I
yeah.
met you through Dr. Penny. I love
Right.
the idea of love. I want the same things you want. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna let God do it. Only God can do it.
Well,
Only
well,
God can do it. Do it, do it, do it. Because He knows
Takesha
what's best.
Takesha said your mom is still up watching even though she's not on Facebook. She sends her love and
Oh,
support.
hey, Key, tell mommy I love her. Hey, mom, I love you. All the way in New York. I love you guys.
Oh my gosh. This has been amazing. You're easy to talk to, so that's great.
Wow, thank you.
But I just yeah, I believe that I just wanted to have this conversation with you because I've seen, you know, you on various like big platforms
Yes, ma'am.
and you're just so humble. Like it's like not hard talking to you at all. And I know it will be hard talking to others that you had a platform with. And the question is like why? Like I mean, please. But anyway, I appreciate you. I'm wrapping things up. Like if
Okay.
anybody have any questions for Dr. Penny, please put it in the chat before we leave. And while she is singing a and B selection, put your questions in the chat. Um, as you can see, she will answer them, and she answers. I mean, you really fed my spirit when you said if they didn't do you right the first time, you just didn't go back. It wasn't a fuss. Once I got back home, you better not call me back because I'm not coming.
And and they will call you back because you didn't complain, and they think they can continue that same treatment. But the reason you didn't complain was because it's over. Just like a woman, when a woman is done in a relationship, she don't
Right.
fight no more. She don't fuss.
That is true.
She'll still keep cooking, washing clothes, and everything else. And then
That's true.
weekend's over. She must be happy. Everything is good. We checked out long before our body did.
Right. You come home one day, she is gone. Swept and garnished.
Yes.
I thought you were okay. You thought.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Already got a new place, everything's set up.
They like
Just waiting for the right time to leave.
we want you to come back for our conference next year. We so enjoyed you. And I'm not able to come. And I have my office do that. I'm not able to come. I'm not.
Yeah.
But I'm handling my own books since COVID. I've been handling my own books.
Oh, I want to ask you about that. Did your church did your church go through a transition during? I know everybody did, but did your numbers stay the same, or did you had to pick back up when you came back in person? Because you stayed out a long time.
2 years.
Y'all, when I tell you DrPenny was on there with what you call
Hoop triggers. Hoop triggers.
She was on hoop triggers faithfully preaching. Sunny, we ain't look any speckle of it. I'm going back in.
Yes. Exactly.
I was watching you.
You was watching me. Listen, those musicians cost me nothing.
That is so true.
I promise you, that was the most economical band ever. And I'm telling you, Hoop Triggers blessed us during COVID.
Wow.
And I only did it. That was thanks to Bishop John Guns, because the first time I used it with the microphone and all, I always ran revival for St. Paul down in Jacksonville, Florida, where they wanted to have it even during COVID. And I hooked up the Hoop Triggers. I went and he told me, he said, "Now, Penny, I know I know we're doing COVID, but I don't want you to teach. I want you to preach just like you would if you were at the church."
Wow.
I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I downloaded the Hoop Triggers, found out how to work it.
Listen, you worked them like a pro. You
oh my God, we had church. But I closed the church for 2 years because I had people in my church that I knew had underlying conditions.
Wow.
In my church. And I closed it because I was concerned about them, Elisa. And it hurt my church. We didn't get PPP loans, and we didn't get any of the grants or anything. I didn't even know about it until it was pretty much over anyway. But we closed the church because of them. I kept preaching online, and the numbers, the numbers went down. Now, the numbers went down in attendance, physical attendance, but they stayed faithful online.
Wow.
So I was able to keep a majority of my audience for whatever reason.
So you have an online following now.
Yeah, I do. So what we don't see in the sanctuary, because there's no way we could stay doing what we do. Everybody's on salary except me at my church. I'm the only one that don't receive a salary. So yeah, the media department, the musicians, they get paid. And but we couldn't do that if you based it on what was in the seats. Right. You'd be like, no, how are they do? It's because the attendance online, the people are committed, and a lot of them, even those that dropped off, and some left and went to churches that stayed open. They said, "Oh, you closed the church, then where's your church's faith?" It's not that we didn't have faith. I didn't want to bury anybody. Right. And I said, God, you called me to this. This is your church. These are your people. Then guess what? I'm going to trust you, and I'm not going to put these folks, at risk, because I know that if I had kept the church open, my people respected and trusted the God in me enough, they would have
Yeah,
been there.
they would have came.
They would have came, and
Right.
they would have. I would have. I know for a fact some of them. I would have lost them. I just I couldn't do it. I couldn't do
That's
it.
amazing.
We lost some attendance. We lost that. We're trying to rebuild it now. I see the growth happening now. We had a
Hmm.
crowd Sunday. Some Sundays I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God. But can I tell you something? But God
Yes.
always maintains, like, if you look at the numbers and then you look at the finances of the church, you're like, okay, it's God.
Right.
Because you can't have 60 people or 50 people and you're able to still do everything you need to do, take care of all the church bills and everything, and still be in the black. That's only,
Wow.
that's only God. So
That's
I tell him, as long as your hand is on it, God, I'm here until you call me home. I trust him, and I know that I did the right thing, Elisa. I know
mhm.
I did, because I didn't want to bury those folks.
Right.
I didn't want to do that. So yeah, it affected our church, and then it doesn't help that we're in Sumter. Like,
Yeah.
we're not on the main drag. I
Because
built a new church, right?
what is Sumter? Like,
Yeah, like Sumter now is synonymous to TLPenny or Shabbat Royal Cathedral. I don't
yes.
really know Sumter otherwise, but the we're in the
Except for that suit store. There's a suit store in Sumter.
yeah, there is right there on 76. There is. But we're off the main drag. So like
Yeah.
Apostle Reed came and
Hmm.
brought his group and sang. He was at the new facility since I built it.
Okay.
But we're off. So we're off the beaten path. So what I'm saying, who's gonna see us? I was thinking about putting a billboard up, so they, Shabbat World Cathedral. I was thinking about doing that, and I still may do it, but I like what God is doing, because organically people are coming because they want to. I want to see
Hmm.
people work. I want to hear the word of mouth. That's what they're supposed to do. Tell people, come to church. The church is still open, and there's still some that need that touch. Because
Right.
I'm that pastor who lays hands and
Right.
oil on you. I have the oil, I have that oil right there in the office, and we anoint people and all of that. You can't get that online. So
Right.
online should just be for those who are online when you just can't get there. Although
Right.
I do know that's where the church is going, brick and mortar. I've heard Apostle Reed say this.
Out of order.
They said, yeah. So, but for those, especially some of the older ones who like, Bishop, please keep the church open, because it was left up to me. And they know this, if my members are watching, I would have stayed online. I would have never come back. But there's that group who wants,
Economically, it makes sense.
it makes sense. It does. But I went in because we want that hands on. So now they have a responsibility. The sheep have to beget sheep.
Right.
And I see the church starting to come back, but God has been maintaining it. It really has. He's been maintaining it.
Okay. Somebody has a question for you. I got 3 questions for you. The
Okay.
first one is it okay to get married just to have intimacy, then divorce after the lust is gone and not stay to work the marriage?
I think if that's,
I didn't even read that. I wouldn't even ask that.
yeah, yeah. I think I'm going to answer it like this. I don't know if that was a question for real or playing or whatever, but here's what I will say. If that was your initial reason for going in for intimacy, and to eventually just get rid of them after the lust, then yes, that's wrong. But there's nothing wrong with marrying somebody because you don't. Paul said it's better to marry than to burn.
Right.
But make sure that you do love them and you want to be with them, and that you're going to work the marriage. Now, sometimes you marry because you don't want to sin, you don't want to do the wrong thing, and you marry them, and then it becomes impossible to stay with them, or they're abusive, or they're emotionally abusive, if not physically abusive. And what can you do with that? Then no, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think if you premeditate not working the marriage out, yeah, that's wrong in and of itself.
Right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Miss B Harrison said, I don't have a question. I just want to say hey, and I love you. I'm so glad I tuned in. I agree with Elisa. This interview was so rich and full of wisdom. Yes, it was.
Thank you.
So rich. So rich and full of wisdom. I am so glad you were a yes. And I had some questions up here about you dating too, but I'm not going to ask that question because I get tired of that question as well.
You
So
can I'll answer what I want to answer. If I don't want to answer it, I'll tell them.
okay. All right, cool. Tori Bryant said, are you currently dating?
No.
No, she's not.
Yeah.
will Cupid make a return this year? What that mean?
Yes, we're
Okay.
gonna be connecting. We're gonna be doing some connections. Yes,
Okay. All
yes.
right. So you have it. Follow Dr. Penny if you want to be connected. Do you have any advice for younger ladies in ministry?
Um, yes. What I will say is integrity is the order of the day. Be integral. Before you can even um, consider sanctification, integrity is birthed out of that. Be integral
Mhm.
because you're human first. Be integral and never compromise. Integrity and no compromise are the two main ingredients that's going to help you in ministry. I don't care what you're offered. I don't care what they say. If it goes against your integrity, if it goes against your conscience, if it goes against your spiritual truth, do not do it. I don't care what they offer you. I don't care. Their platforms, and I'm sure Lady Reed, excuse me, I keep calling you Lady Reed from
You can
Lisa.
call me Alisa.
Lisa,
You say my name so nice. Say
I
this
could,
in the name.
I could have probably been much further if I had if I had compromised and done some things that were asked of me.
Mhm.
Never do it. I don't care what they promise you, because the Bible says, except God build the house, they that labor in vain.
I
And
was gonna ask you that question. Have you ever been tried like that? Like somebody
oh,
tried it?
Lisa, I've had knocks on my
I
door.
know, cause you pretty. I
Oh,
know
well,
that.
thank you. But when I'm preaching, I'm all sweaty and all of that. I don't feel pretty when I'm doing ministry. But I've had knocks on my door. I've had, I've had preachers got mad at me because I wouldn't come to their room, and they're
What?
prominent, yeah. Or something must be wrong with Penny because I don't let them come. Or here's a good one. They didn't give me my check at the church, so the pastor himself will come to Dr. Penny, I want to bring the check to you. And Elder can attest to this. I'll call her in her room. She's normally right next door or down the hall. I'll say, hey, Bishop so-and-so said that they are going to bring the check to my room. You can come up here with me, or can you just kind of stand in the doorway? And I'll do that. And they'll do that, trying to, see what they can see. And
Wow.
yeah. So I've had one of them knocked. I remember one night I was young in ministry. I was doing a week-long revival. I don't know if Reed remembers doing them 7 to 10-day revivals in New Jersey. And one of the mothers of the church, back when you would eat from people, because you can't eat everybody food now, made me
Right.
a big old pot of fresh neck bones. One of my
Ooh,
favorite
I
dishes.
love lip balm.
And after I finished preaching that night, I went back to my room, put on my pajamas, watching Love Connection. Remember Steve Woolery was watching
Right.
Love Connection in my room, eating my neck bones. Can knock on the door. Elder couldn't go with me at that time because she was working and couldn't get off. This was like,
Wow.
oh God, 25, 26 years, no, 28 years ago. And I said, who is it? He said, woman of God, I was, and he told me his name. I was at the service and I found out where you were, and I kind of wanted to just come in and just talk to you because we're interested. I'm like, it's 1:00 in the morning. They're saying all this.
Really?
I called her. I always call a witness. I called her. See, she's so right. I called her. I said, you won't believe this. Bishop so-and-so is at my room door at 1:00 in the morning. She said, rebuke that demon and send back. I never
Wow.
my door. I never
I don't
opened.
understand why would they think that is okay. That is crazy to me.
I think because you know why. This is for the young ladies. Because when women, and it's been hard for. I get it. It's been difficult for women in ministry. And
Mhm.
when they're made promises, they're told if you do this or if you do that, this is what you're going to have. And some of them have ascended, Elisa, because they, took them up on the offer. But that's why
See,
they
when
do
you
it.
say stuff like that, you make me think. Now, don't be doing that.
Yeah. And some of them have. I mean, it's true.
Who's up there that shouldn't be? Like Jay-Z said, you don't belong in the category. Why
Yeah,
are you up there?
yeah, some really have. Men and women have. But
Mm.
it's harder for women. It's a lot harder sometimes for women. She really has to just pray and ask God to tune and sharpen her gift, her anointing, her craft at what she does, so that you don't owe nobody anything. And nobody
Wow.
can ever say, and that's what I want young women to know, let God be the only one that you owe anything to. Integrity, and do not compromise. Maintain that stand of integrity. Woman of God, I want to know if if you want to go. No, I'm not going out with you. That's why I always travel with someone to have a witness. Because Elisa, people lie. They lie
Yeah,
on you anyway.
they
God
do.
knows they lie. I'm like, are you kidding me? They'll just it's not. I don't like controversy. But
Right.
at least if you have a witness, and if somebody is not with me, I'm gonna get on the phone and I'm gonna call and say, hey, Lisa, I want you to know it's 2:00 in the morning. I'm here in my room and so and so's knocking on the door, and I'll even put my camera on so you can see,
Wow.
because I'm not gonna let anybody do that to me. And that's what I would tell them. I would have thought now that I'm getting older, I wouldn't have these problems. I'll be 54 in October.
Oh, they want you now more now.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care.
Erica says, "Do you see the seasoned saint passing the baton or dying without doing so?"
My good friend and mentor, who's gone on to be with the Lord, Bishop Iona Locke, came to hear me preach in Pontiac, Michigan. And we were in the back office, me, her, and Elder, and one of her staff members. And she was commending me on the message. And she said to me, I want to tell you something, Dr. Penny. She said, our generation, talking about her generation, we want to pass the baton and we want to shake the pom-poms, but we want to make sure we're passing the baton to those who are going to walk in the integrity
Right.
that God has called them to. That's what she said to me. I believe with all of my heart. Now, anyone who does not pass the baton, who's trying to hog it up, that's another spirit in them, because we're not going to be here forever. My job is to groom those that I want to be able to sit back. I don't, at 65, 70 years old, and see sons and daughters of the gospel doing what I did, and I don't have to preach. I don't have to come to church and preach. I can come and receive. I think that's necessary in this hour. When you see folks refusing to do that, that's another kind of spirit, because we are dying. When I say dying, we're leaving. And this new generation that's coming in, they need to be trained. They need to also be properly loved. Show them what is in ministry, that it doesn't have to be contaminated. And make certain that they understand that it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to work for it. It's a lot easier now for this generation than it was for us before. We didn't have social media.
Right.
We couldn't I remember back when they were charging for e-blast. Remember that? You had to spend all this money to blast I know I keep dating myself. You had to spend all this money just to get a flyer put out. Now we do it on Facebook. It's e-blasting all day long. What we do, share. That's all that is. But we worked hard at it. I think that it's important that we get to the place that we understand we're not here always. A church with a lot of young people is a living church. A church with no young people is a dying church.
Right.
And I think it's important to prepare them and know that they're not going. Joshua ain't going to be Moses.
Right.
He ain't going to act like Moses. You understand? And know that whatever God has given them, pass the baton. If you raised them right, the Bible said, train up a child in the way that they should go. And when they're older, they won't depart. They'll hold on to those rudimentary foundational truths. They'll hold on to the substratum of the faith. And I think so passing the baton is what's necessary.
Right. Amanda is asking, is it always male, or do female pastors do this as well? Are they doing it as well? Like, I guess she's saying, are they the ones that's like not paying you or putting you in bad hotels and things like that?
It's been both. But it's been more males in past years. It's been more males than females, because it wasn't that many at that time mega female pastors. Remember, I told you most of the hardship I encountered was from much larger, like churches with 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people.
Right.
I didn't understand that. I was young and didn't understand how you gonna bounce a check.
Right.
And it wasn't like they they were giving me $5,000 back then or anything. You know, it's like, what are you bouncing? So yeah.
Wow. That I can't. The stories that you've shared tonight has been eye opening for sure. Because I don't understand. But I want to thank you again. I don't want to, be long, but I want to thank you again for coming on. Um Definitely have to do a part two because there's more things that I want to talk about. But
Okay.
the attention span of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're on. I mean, they're still on here.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I shut down. Instagram was pumping too. So but I just want to thank you again, like Denise just said. Thank you for your wisdom. I oh, what's happening? Thank you for your wisdom. And Miss B Harrison said I'm ready for part two.
Oh,
Because I believe there's a lot that we can pull from you as, a woman of faith. I heard your background. You have a solid background in holiness, deliverance, prayer. Prayer is the key. That's the thing. And
yes.
I think that is what I feel when I talk to you. I know that you really pray.
Yes.
There are some people, they talk, but you can tell that they don't really pray. you know. And so I think that's where you've been birthed out in prayer, and I think that is amazing. I commend you for pastoring for 24 years and still running the road. I mean, that is phew. And I when I say running the road, it's not like bitch. Dr. Penny is on the biggest of tickets. Okay. So if you don't, like I said before she came on, if you don't know who DrTLPenny is, you don't know Jesus.
And you'll
Because
find me on the smallest, and you'll find me on the smallest of ones too. I'll go. I don't discriminate. I'll go to small church with 20 people, 10 people. I'll still do it, Elisa. I
I
will.
know you will.
Uh-huh.
Because you don't, I mean, when I asked you to come on here, you was like, sure.
Uh-huh.
That's it. Sure. Like, and so I like talking to you. So I'm glad, and I hope we stay connected because
Yes.
when I was a first lady, my biggest gripe was there was no person that I could say that would put down whatever they were doing to mentor me. I was 18 years old.
Wow.
Nobody. And I don't know if it I should not have intimidated them because I wasn't really a lay on hands type first lady. No way. I was a hands-on first lady, but I wasn't the type that would get up and I could dance. I would, my dance is signature.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like preaching, and I wasn't in that light.
Yeah.
But nobody took me under their wing and was like, okay, Lisa, this is how you should do this. But I was raised by 7 church mothers. So
Wow.
I think God, it was ordained for me to be who I was. So I even if I even if I don't try, I act like an old church mother. I act just like my mama. And
Wow.
I've embraced it now. But back then, I just didn't know how to do. I didn't know what I was doing.
Uh-huh.
And so it took a lot of I was insecure for many years because I didn't do it like such and such. But when I had an epiphany one day, I was like, you know what? And then God said, do it how I tell you to do it.
Uh-huh.
And after that, it was over.
Uh-huh.
So I just don't like when she talked about passing the baton. I think sometimes I don't know what the hold up is. I don't think they're holding back, but then again, sometimes I think the older generation just don't know how to get through to the younger generation. And I think we need to have a conversation about that because um the younger generation past me,
Mhm.
um they're very disrespectful.
Very.
I'm gonna talk about that as
Yeah.
well. Rashawn Hush. He's talking about you're definitely a church mother. That's my pastor. That's my pastor friend.
Okay.
He We had a conversation one time. He was like, he said, Lisa, you getting on the prayer line? I said, I don't get on no prayer line. I'm saved. That's prayer line is for people that ain't saved. I pray for real. I don't get on no prayer line. That was before COVID. Now after COVID, we've learned more things.
Yes, absolutely.
But I just want a mature voice that would just come through the sound waves every now and then.
Yeah.
So I would like for you to be that voice, because you said some things that was very impactful, and it don't just apply to preachers. It applies to your everyday life. And
Yes.
so that's the things that we need when it comes to that's what I think, podcasts and platforms should be about. It should be about, people finding something to be like, I can live by this. And you said a lot of stuff that we can live by. And so I just want to thank you for that. I do.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Oh, but you gotta sing now.
Oh my gosh, what do you want to hear? What do you want to hear? I'm
I want to hear some. I can back you up too now.
Oh yes, right. I forgot you. Background vocals. That's it. Oh my gosh. Let me see. What's the song I can sing? But maybe the audience can pick something. What should I sing?
What do y'all want? What do you want to hear Dr. Penny sing? If people from her church, y'all probably know what she's.
What you guys got something you want to hear?
What y'all want to hear Dr. Penny sing before we leave? What do you want?
I'll sing this. This is a little piece of this is just my ode and my heart to the Lord anyway. I haven't sang in a minute. I probably should what if I should put a microphone on? I should probably hit my mic. But I'll sing this and maybe somebody can relate to it just a little bit. I love you. I love you. I love you, Lord, today, because you cared for me in such a special way. And now I praise you. I lift you up and I magnify your name. Oh, thank you, Jesus. That's why my heart is filled with praise. My heart, my mind, my soul belongs to you. You paid the price for me way back on Calvary. That's why I praise you and I lift you up and I magnify your name. Oh, thank you, Lord. That's why my heart is filled with praise.
Oh my God. Oh my anointed.
You were supposed to come in there with me now. You left me.
I'm gonna come in with that. Where am I gonna come in? You didn't give me a space to come in.
You could have came with me. Come on, serve me with me.
You did just fine. I gave you facial expressions. That's what I gave.
That's what it is.
Oh my God, you touched somebody tonight. Thank you, Dr. Penny. Definitely will have you back. I appreciate you and your voice in the community, in the world, to matter of fact. My audience is saying I'm speaking in tongues right now. Listen, we will have you back. And thank you so much for being a part of Put a Pin in It Conversations with Elisa. Y'all give Dr. Penny a hand. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we will see you soon.
Okay, soon.
All right. Keep in touch. All right, y'all. This was amazing. I enjoyed every bit of this conversation. Do you hear me? It was so good. Dr. Penny, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being a yes on Put a Pin in It Conversations with Elisa. Next week, you don't know who gonna be on, so you might as well tune in. Love y'all and have a wonderful, wonderful night.